Hi, it's Amanda and Brandon with Grandma's Wealth Wisdom. And obviously, we're not grandma, but we love to follow her tried and true wisdom about managing cash flow and leveraging assets. Today, we're talking to the FIRE movement, those who want to have financial independence and retire early. And Grandma's got some advice for you that you're not going to hear anywhere else in terms of, the Boggles and the different places that you're looking. And in fact,
what is a Boggle? Could you tell me?
The Boggle-heads, I'm going to read a quote from one of their websites. So the FIRE people know what I'm talking about with these Boggle-heads. You might have read this on Boggle-heads.org. And this is what they say. This is what is being preached to the FIRE movement. Generally speaking, you're better off purchasing term insurance and using a good investment vehicle than purchasing whole life insurance. But it does have a place in estate planning in certain situations. So they're basically saying better to buy term and invest the rest, but in some circumstances, whole life does have a benefit to your estate planning. And we just want to ask the question, are you willing to consider if your situation is one of those that, certain situations that could benefit from whole life insurance? For example, do you think that when you're a little older than most people's term insurance expires, like if you're 70 or 80 and your term insurance would have expired, that you're going to have a spouse or a significant other or a dependent that could use some life insurance benefit, a death benefit, when you get your wings, kind of after most people's term insurance has expired. And what if there was a vehicle that grew your wealth simply and sustainably, very similar to how bonds grow? Most people in the FIRE movement love bonds. What if there was something that was very similar to that, but it happened to include a death benefit? What if it actually performed better than the bonds? Especially as you use those funds for passive income and you sell the bonds, or the bonds mature and you're going to use it. What if this worked even better than under that scenario? Wouldn't you at least want to know about it?
I would, for sure. So we came across the FIRE movement backwards. We actually jumped into our passion first. As these entrepreneurs, we were very passionate about coffee and community. Not to make a whole lot of money or anything like that. I wish we would have had a little bit more of a mindset about that in the beginning. But it was all about, we wanted to change the world. We wanted to make a difference for the people who were in poverty, specifically coffee farmers and our community around us. That was how we came into entrepreneurship. And passive income was hopefully we would have that happen. That was the hope.
That came way later.
And a few years into pursuing our passion, we started to think about having that vehicle, or retirement, and having stability, all of that stuff. And we didn't want to be working for the rest of our lives. And as an entrepreneur, we felt like at some level we were going to continue that journey of being 85 behind a coffee bar.
Slinging shots.
Yeah, and I don't know.
Espresso shots, by the way.
So that was us. And then we came to this FIRE movement and had already found this strategy, the grandma strategy, and had used it to get out of, even with the coffee shop, we had a flood that happened, and we were able to use that without going into debt. Yeah,
so most people that like the FIRE movement, they're trying to build that passive income, build that investment vehicle that can spin off growth to fund their money so that they can pursue their passion. We were already pursuing our passion, and we were looking for a place to save some of the profit, save some of what we needed for our future so that we could continue doing our passion and have the option to not work so heavy in our passion as we got older.
And handle any of the ups and downs of that passion project.
Yeah. Right. We didn't want our money locked up. We wanted it to be accessible and available for us to use. And we, at that time, were introduced to this thing that we call grandma strategy. And it's a strategy that half of Americans are using back in grandma's day to have liquid, available cash for the stuff of life and to supplement their retirement income. In other words, this is a time-tested financial vehicle that's been around for generations, even 160 years, even older than just grandma. Whereas like this idea of buy term and invest the rest, like we read about in the Boggle-heads.org quote from the beginning, that's only really been around since the 1980s. It's kind of a newer idea. And then also like,
and who created that term and why?
Well,
we have to ask that question.
We'll do a future video about that, but that's something you could Google and find out some more about. But the thing that we've found that we like a lot about grandma's strategy is it's not tied to the stock market, and it is a little bit safer than just using bonds because you're pooling your money with a bunch of other people, and together you're collectively purchasing some bonds, but you're doing some other things too. And you have a whole team of people that are helping make those decisions that they're experts. They're really great at it. And so you can be a lot more diversified than just purchasing like this bond fund or this type of municipal bond or whatever it is. And it's also a business that you're giving your money to, and it's a mutually owned business. So you get to be one of the owners of the company when you're using grandma's strategy, and that has all kinds of other perks that go along with it that you're not going to get from a bond fund, including it would be kind of like, can you imagine if you were able to take your money out of your bonds and still get the growth of those bonds as if you hadn't have taken your money out of it? That's one of the benefits of grandma's strategy and working with a mutually owned company like we work with. And it just so happens that this financial vehicle that gives you time-tested growth of your money that's very similar to bonds, has lots of diversifications, you're not tied with any one thing, and gives you some of these extra perks. It just so happens that it's called whole life insurance. And if it had been called something else, we totally would be talking about something else. Yeah. But it really comes down to that safety, that time-tested, and liquid without loss of the dividends and the growth of those funds. Now, we do have to tell you one quick story about how these work. And how this whole life is different than a lot of other whole life insurance out there. Recently, I was talking with someone that works for one of the companies that we also work with. We're brokers. We can work with multiple different companies. And this person was a captive agent at one of those companies. And we were talking about what we do a little bit and sharing, what do they call that? Like stories, right? Yeah. Just talking shop. And I mentioned a little bit about how we would design a policy with that company, and he was like, whoa, I never thought about that. They never taught us that, all these things. And I actually got on a Zoom call with him and one of his coworkers and showed them, here's what I would do with this company, the company that you work for. Here's what I would do. Here's what I can't do and why I would choose another company. And there's like, literally, this is what they said to me, we need to review our own policies. And I was like, yes, absolutely. That is always a good thing to do. I review my own policies, but I found mine are actually really, really great, and I haven't needed to make any changes. But this isn't just something you can go to any old whole life insurance company and do it with them. You've got to find somebody that's trained and has the accountability to make sure they're structuring these correctly for you. And so in that way, yes, typical whole life insurance, I'd say, might not be worth it. And there's probably fewer people that's an essential part of their estate planning. But the way that grandma does life insurance and that we do whole life insurance works for a lot more people and gives them a lot more flexibility with their money over time. So if you want to find out more about how this could work for you, we don't know yet if it's going to work for your situation or not. The way to find out is to talk with us, to reach out, to have a conversation. And we think that we're some of the best at designing and creating whole life insurance to, do the kinds of things that we're talking about. And challenge us.
Of course, I know I'm the best, right?
Right. We love to show you that we're the best and would welcome that challenge. So all you have to do the first step to finding out if this is the right fit for you is to visit grandmaswealthwisdom.com. You can click on request a meeting and schedule a call with us there. You can find out more about what we believe about financial independence on that website as well. We'll have some links in the description of this video for all that you need to know.
So thanks for watching and including us on your unique financial journey towards a smart, stable financial future. We'll catch you next time at Grandma's Wealth Wisdom.